I feel like it's impossible to make RWBY content without starting small fires, so let me start by saying that each and every one of you looks positively radiant today. To start with 3 sexy relevant disclaimers: 1, I completely respect people disagreeing with my RWBY takes. 2, I personally don't think Yang and RWBY's relationship has suffered in terms of writing as of late. And 3, even if it has, I don't think it's fair to blame Bumblebee for taking up said development when we're still adding characters to a show consisting of approximately a bajillion and 1 open plotlines. I'm also adding a 4th sexy relevant disclaimer: I'm recording this with just 1 episode of Volume 9 out. It's up to 8, not up to date. I made a video on Yang being constrained to an older sibling trope a while back, and I stand by what I said. Naturally, I revisited it because, let's face it, new volumes come out and opinions often change. But the RWBY fanbase, myself included, has the tendency to conflate characters making bad decisions or reacting poorly to news as being poorly written, which isn't true. TLDR, whether you agreed with RWBY, Yang, or both of them at the beginning of Volume 8, they each made solid points, and there was no perfect answer in a situation with 1,000 shitty potential outcomes. What this conversation told me was that Yang has started to see RWBY as an equal, and some, select few fans didn't like the way this removed Yang from the older sister role she tended to play in the first few seasons. You know, back when the animation looked like this and their hands would go through solid objects. God, I miss those days. Anyway, Yang has a bad case of eldest daughter at the series start. She coddles her sister despite their mere 2-year age gap, and despite RWBY being their leader, she rarely speaks to her as anything but family. This means she puts unbridled faith in her sister. It sounds sweet, but it's pretty unfair to both girls. For starters, how would you feel if you were thrust into a leadership position at such a young age, and only one of your teammates challenged your ideas, and only because she wanted to be that bitch in charge? Yang was so dead set on putting all of her faith into her sister that, inevitably, the weight of the team's decisions fell onto the shoulders of a 15-year-old girl with little to no experience on the battlefield. That was inconsequential when everyone's biggest problem was the local Chad, but it makes sense that as the plot thickened and the stakes got higher, RWBY would crack under the pressure. During the crucial episodes that Team RWBY spent apart in Volumes 4 and 5, RWBY grew so much as a leader with Team Ranger. Yang sees this and now treats her sister like a full-fledged leader. Yang is also known for being forward, so it makes sense to me that she wouldn't sugarcoat the ways in which she disagreed with her sister's plan at Atlas. And yeah, I agree she could have been nicer on the delivery.
When we came here, we said we'd follow your lead. But things haven't exactly worked out.
But the writers making Yang stick to her forward nature isn't poor writing, because it's unnatural to constantly agree with the protagonist's actions down to a T. Both girls want to save people but had different ideas of how to achieve that. Splitting up in that moment made sense. I get a little bummed when people complain Yang isn't tied enough to RWBY's character anymore. Because 1, it suggests RWBY requires protecting still when she's proven to be a competent huntress. And 2, it suggests that Yang's primary purpose as a character in the series is in that supportive sibling role, not as her own person. I don't love the notion that older siblings need to toss aside their safety, principles, and personal life for the sake of their younger siblings. The overprotective older sibling trope is common, and I think it's fine in some media, but RWBY has always been a show about 4 girls. Yang is often protective, but she isn't overprotective. As a younger sibling myself, I think that's fine.
All I care about is making sure my sister is safe.
The moments in which Yang does fall into this trope are instinctive, not over long conversations like this one. Yang has been shown to throw herself in front of RWBY. I don't think the writers are claiming this to be completely healthy or completely negative, but instead are showing the effects of what practically raising a younger sibling can do to one's knee-jerk reactions.
I think she was still too young to really get what was going on, you know? And my dad just kinda shut down.
But while Yang has these instinctive moments, they don't define her character. Because she isn't the expected picture of an older sister tossing aside everything for RWBY, some fans think she stopped caring about her. Personally, I never got that. In Season 5, the only person she cared about getting to was RWBY. She risked her life for her in Season 8. I've said it before, Yang prioritizes RWBY's safety, but not her comfort. That's why she's there for RWBY when she's physically in danger or emotionally struggling, but isn't afraid to voice her opinion when it comes to RWBY's leadership and group decision-making. Trust me, I'm not an avid defender of the series writing. If someone really thinks there hasn't been enough between Yang and RWBY lately, that's totally fair. But that usually brings up the B topic. Honestly, as someone who loves Bumblebee, I think the criticism that their character development has become too intertwined is completely valid. But I don't think that Yang wanting double entendre pussy is the sole reason she hasn't been shown talking to her sister enough. we still have plenty of moments between the sisters. On top of that, I tend to blame the constant addition of 10 new storylines per volume as the reason certain relationships or characters aren't developed enough. Don't worry though, we have talking mice now. Someone quick, make a marketable plushie. But I don't think this topic is as black and white, as it's frequently presented as. With all these years this story has been built up, it makes sense to have inconsistencies and to take different paths than the story may have originally been en route to take. Things change, things develop, and I think it's fair to criticize stuff like dynamics and screen time usage, but I also think it's unfair to boil it all down to Yang is a bad older sister, when, compared to many other sibling depictions in media, RWBY and Yang have quite a unique and fleshed out dynamic.
I've always got your back, sis.